Everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm a bit nervous about filming this. I am. It's not often I have drama. I don't think I've ever really brought any drama to this channel. I've always had it with the intent of being drama free, and for those of you that are regular, you know that I don't think luxury should bring drama. I think that luxury should bring joy. You know, it's, for me, I make sacrifices to afford luxury. Of course there's a hair on my face. Yeah, so I make sacrifices to be able to afford luxury, and therefore it should bring me joy. But I've had a situation recently. I'm going to share it, and I don't, at this point of filming, I don't even know if I'm going to make this, put this out there, upload it and put it out there. No, I mean, I probably will, because I kind of have that point, I go, screw it, done it. You know, like when you word an email and you're like, should I send, should you not? And you go, sod it, and push the send button. That's probably what I'll end up doing, but maybe this will help bring me some closure. Maybe this will just be cathartic. Or talking to you, and the pretense that you will be watching this if I publish will be my therapy. So thank you to all of those of you that are watching as my therapists. Now, that's made it sound really dramatic, and it's not that dramatic. This is handbag drama, right? Let's put that out there. This is not life-changing. This is handbag drama, pure and simple, right? Let's not make this bigger. We're not clickbaiting. We're not making this bigger. I had a scenario recently. I've made some mini notes to try and stay on track. I'll probably have to refer to my phone as well. Bear with me. But I'm going to share with you my story to date. So we are currently... What is the date today? We are... No bloody idea. We are currently Saturday the 26th of August. That's where we're at. I'll start at the beginning. I'll try not to waffle on for too long, but I'm going to share it, and if anyone can learn from this or take anything out of it, then great. I mean, if you guys just want to laugh at me, then fine, do that too. I mean, I don't really care. I'm going to share with the story, get it off my chest. And hopefully very soon this will be resolved, and very soon I can just move on, because although this is not life-changing, as I said, it has been really playing on my mind. And part of the reason it was really playing on my mind is part of that reflective side of me, where if I put myself in a bad position, I'm not very forgiving of myself, and I'm like, why did you do that? What if you'd done this? What if you'd done that? What if you had done this differently or that differently? I torture myself. No one else does. I do it, and that's partly why sometimes I don't let go of things too easily. I also need to see things through to the bitter end, whatever that end is. It's who I am. It's something that I did, you know, when my beloved cat Bono, some of you may have seen him on the channel. When I lost him, I did everything. I went to the top cat cancer expert in the whole of the EU and literally pummeled them, nicely so they quite enjoyed the intellectual challenge, but pummeled them for information and statistics and what if this and what if that and what about that scenario and what about this, and you know, to get that great balance of, can I do anything for him? But also, I don't want him to suffer. I don't want to put him through a load of tests and things and biopsies if it's going to give him, an extra 2 weeks. And I'm just not going to do that. So it was for me to be able to make the best decision, I had to go to that very nth degree. What it led to, unfortunately, was there's absolutely nothing that could have been done. And I lost my dear cat a bit too early. But that's who I am. I have to go and know that, I have to know that I can't do any more, basically. Right, let's start. Sorry, that's a long intro. Gosh, you can tell I don't normally do these sorts of videos. On the 21st of July 2023, messaging bestie Lorna, and I was like, you know what, I've been thinking about the bag. I've been thinking about having like, because most of my bags are quite structured, I quite fancy something like an Hermes Evelyn, like in the PM side. I've got the TPM, like it. Maybe I would, I've always said it was too big, maybe the PM will work, maybe something a bit slouchy. I was inspired by Lux Purse, Lux Mummy, anyway, I dreadful remembering her name. She's got a gold one. I was sort of inspired by that, and I was like, you know what I really want though? I want a barenia. I really want a barenia slouchy bag, Evelyn PM. So that was on the 21st of July. Well, and we had some subsequent conversations since. On the 27th of July, what gets listed on one of the Facebook groups? A barenia slouchy bag appears. In particular, an Hermes 2424 in the size 35 in barenia. It's used, it's got some marks, there's some corner scuffs, there's a little scratch on the swift, on the more delicate bit at the top, but that happens. But it's at a fairly decent price. It's priced at £3,000. New retail for 23 would be over £9,000 new. So I was like, they're not that popular a bag. I know it's a big bag, and typically big bags go for less on the resale market. So I'm like, to me that seems a fair price. But I hadn't thought about 2424 before. I slept on it, I did some research on YouTube and whatnot like I do. And then on the morning of the 28th, I was like, yeah, let's go for it. Hopefully, again, if I did worst case, I would never buy it for this reason, but worst case, I changed my mind. I should be able to sell it on at that price, hopefully, even with the market as it is at the moment, where, the resale market isn't good. So I sent a message. Small delay, but that's fine. The guy selling it got back to me later that day. And like I said, with the Facebook groups, you need to put pictures, and he had the date stamp of him holding the bag of the 27th of July. So I'm like, great, there's that. And he said, oh, sorry, I also had it advertised on Hardly Ever Worn It, which is HEWI for short. But he'd let me know if it falls through. I said, great, let's leave it up to the Hermes gods. Absolutely, I'm absolutely interested. We'll see what happens. That was that. On the 29th, I just sent him another little follow-up note just to say, quite disappointed because I hadn't thought about 2424 before. And then once I had, I was like, yes, I want it. So just let him know, disappointed. I literally got in like the morning of it, the following morning of it being put on the group. So I was like, a bit disappointed, but again, re-emphasise, let me know if it falls through. And me and Sarah, just had a little bit of Hermes chat, fellow enthusiasts. On the 2nd of August, I had a message to say that the Hardly Ever Worn It buyer had cancelled, and did I still want it? It's like, great, and it had been put on the Facebook group, but I've been put down, and I was like, a friend of mine messaging me, it's available. So thank you, Bagged Addict 71 for that. So I said, absolutely. I was in the office, I was really busy, but I was like, can we sort it out, like payment out tonight? But absolutely, I'm not a time waster. Absolutely, yes please. And I was so excited because literally as the message came through, I was on the way to meet my Hermes SA, just have a little browse and a look, and I just told him about it. I was like, brilliant, the Hermes gods say yes. I was literally on a high. It was a little pick-me-up that I really needed that day. I was just, when I say I was excited, I mean, I was so excited. Like, literally all Christmases come at once excited, So I arranged to pay half that night, and he's like, yep, great, bags on hold. And then we can do a London meet as well to pick up. So it was an option to post it all London meet. I was like, well, you know what? We're both in London. Let's save the cost of selling a bag over the Royal Mail insurance, and it saves it getting bashed about in the post or anything. Let's just do that. It's just quick. I'm in London a couple of days a week. Fine. Then later that day, I just said, oh, still showing as on the Hardly Ever Worn It site. You know, just wanted to check. And he did say that, yeah, he took it to Hardly Ever Worn It last Tuesday, as was then going to be away. And that's a bit weird because the first, well, unless he meant, because the 2nd of August was a Wednesday. So either he meant yesterday, the 1st of August, which is Tuesday, or it would have been the 25th of July, which is weird because the photo of him holding it showed the 27th of July. So that was a little bit weird. Anyway, but we offered to meet on the 3rd, or could do the weekend, but anyway, we decided I was a bit, the following day was a bit too soon for me, like to make different work arrangements. I was like, oh, you know what, I've got plans that weekend. So we arranged for the Monday. I was going to be in work on the Monday anyway, so we'll do it then. I said, great, I'll pay half of the money and I'll pay the rest on Monday morning. Before I made that first payment the evening of the 2nd, I did say, and I assume you've checked it all over after getting it back from Hardly Ever Worn It. And my reason for saying that was I just wanted to check that they hadn't done anything or got it bashed or given him back the wrong bag or something, you know, some stupid mistake on their part. And the reply was like, of course, yes, it's pristine. Don't worry at all. You know, I wouldn't be sending you a damaged bag. I mean, imagine that. So anyway, I then paid half of the money. I then just followed up with, you know, can I just ask that you make sure that it's removed from Hardly Ever Worn It, you know, after the last thing, you know, just in case it sells overnight or anything. And it's like, yeah, I told them already at like, you know, just gone 3 o'clock that afternoon because I spotted it was on there. Don't worry, the bag is with me. So that's important. This is on the 2nd of August. I'm told the bag is with me anyway. I got it this afternoon to make sure, so they can't send anything out. I was in town today and picked it up knowing you were having it. All good. It's like, great, thank you. And I was like, oh, they are really a bit slow, aren't they, kind of thing. Effing useless springs to mind was the response. Anyway, and then we had a bit more chat about Hermes bags and barenia leather and our mutual love for it, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, basically 2 Hermes fans getting on well with a buyer-seller relationship. 4th of August. I said, oh, I've been thinking about it. I was getting a bit impatient because I was so excited. I was like, oh, any chance of meeting Saturday after all? You know, he said he was going to be up in like central London, Harrods Way. I said, no, it's no longer in London. He's now doing a spontaneous trip elsewhere to go and see some friends. So I said, fuck. So we went, fine, you know what, we'll just stick with the original arrangement, which was to meet on Monday at 12:30. Then on the 6th of August, so the date, this is a Sunday evening, reconfirmed that we're going to meet 12:30 on the Monday. On the Monday morning, so it's the 7th of August, at about 10 o'clock, 10:01, I transferred the remaining money. And I know some people may think, well, what were you doing? Why were you doing that? But I guess for me, I was very mindful of the seller, you know, them doing a London meetup. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of, you know, small and whatnot and not really a threat to anybody physically, but I just wanted them to have that peace of mind. I was thinking, you know, they know that they're going to give me the bag, but they've already got the money in full. There's no scamming going on from my side. You know, when you do buy pre-loved and when you do buy in these scenarios, you need to do an element of due diligence, but it comes down to trust. Maybe I've been a bit relaxed because I bought a couple of bags recently pre-loved and it'll be nice and easy and smooth and trustworthy. Maybe I was feeling a little relaxed. But the person I was buying it from had been on Facebook for a while, a good while, and had, like, you know, what you can see was like genuine friends on Facebook, had been part of the groups for a while, but various comments, a bit of an enthusiast, and said available to get references. And I also remembered the original post of when the bag was sold earlier on in the year from the group as well, and they were listed as a potential referee. So I was like, yeah, I can see the chain. So I felt comfortable enough with what I was doing. Also, PayPal instead of bank transfer had been an option, but I was feeling comfortable enough to save some money and do it bank transfer way. Like I say, it wasn't a planned purchase either, so it was quite tight for me to manage it. So yeah, so I transferred the money for that, to provide that reassurance. 12:08, I confirmed I was on the way. I sent a picture of me and my bloody great big Harrods carrier bag that I'd lugged all the way into London. Like I say, it's an empty carrier bag, but it was flapping in the wind and it was big because this is a 35 bag in a box, you know, so it's going to be a big thing to carry. So I've got this bag, picture of me, so he knows exactly who I am, so he's not going to give the bag to somebody else, but he knows what I look like. Confirmed what he was wearing, and also, you know, confirmed he was on the way, you know, see you soon, I'm walking now. So great. I was 3 stops away on the tube. I go through the tube barrier, I go down the escalator, and my Apple Watch pings. It's at 12:15, we're meeting at 12:30. Joe, have you left yet? Can I push it back? This is really awkward, call me, I'm on. And she has his phone number with me. I try to call, there's no answer. And I'm like, what do? I'm in the bottom of the tube. I'm like, do I get on the tube? Do I go back up? Like, what do I do? I don't know what's going on. You know, this feeling of excitement has now gone to this feeling of dread and just uncertainty. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in London, I don't know where I'm going. So I thought, fine, I'll go back. I sort of, you know, I sat down on a little bench and tried making phone calls and messaging. Don't get a reply. So I go back to the office. Just about to get into the lift to go back up to my floor. This is at 12:31 by now, and he calls me. We emphasised what he said in the message. Basically, there'd been a family emergency. I said, but you know, so I'm not going to be in London now. I've got to go to be with family. Maybe we can meet on Thursday or can post it. Quick phone call. I'm like, you know, obviously I'm very conscious of this family emergency and, you know, my bag needs, let's face it, are really quite low compared to that. But I was devastated. I wasn't feeling well either, but didn't want to let him down, so I drove myself into London. I was shocked, I was disappointed. I was wearing, as I still am, my Falve barenia watch strap. Yeah, I know it's in bad days, but I was watching that as almost like my barenia good luck charm, and I haven't taken it off since. And I don't hear anything else. And then at 1:53, I just sent a little, you know, how they're doing kind of message. I get no response. It's just silent. And at this point, but I'd seen he was online, so I was thinking, okay, this is on Facebook Messenger, and I'm like, okay, you know, there's something going on. It's probably family messaging and things like that. I was online for quite a while, and I was like, but I thought you were going to be driving to where you were going. So I was a little bit like, that's a bit weird, but you know, can't presume what people are doing in their circumstances. So I was trying to put it back to the back of my mind, but at this point, you know, I've done a bank transfer of £3,000. It's all gone a bit sour very quickly, and things are sounding a bit weird. I'm starting to question things. I am questioning things. I'm hearing nothing for hours. Yeah, but I just felt uncomfortable. But you know, I had done a certain amount of due diligence. I knew the guy's name, I knew it was a genuine profile. The phone number that I'd called him on and spoken to him on was exactly the same phone number on their website, which was in their same name for their own business, which is a legitimate business. It's also, you know, it checked out on Company's House. So everything ties up that they are who they say they are. You know, this isn't like a fake Facebook name or anything that's been going on for a while. So there was that. Anyway, basically as I'm on the way home, I'm like kind of trying to, in my own mind, kind of go, right, you were going to spend £3,000 and get this bag. Worst case scenario, let's just go to the worst, and we don't know that yet. But let's just go to the absolute worst case scenario. You've still spent £3,000. You just don't have a bag. So I was trying to like just make myself feel better should the worst absolutely happen. 6:24 that evening, I hear back, just saying that not going to be in London for some time. I wouldn't have thought. For ease, send me your details. I'll refund you straight away, so I don't have your money on hold. Basically, due to what happened, like organising, shipping and delivering a bag was basically the least of their hassles right now. Sincere apologies. So I was feeling good that I at least heard from them. I was like, okay, fine. So I gave my details and just said, let me know when you are in a position to sell. I'm thinking if you decide to sell a bag, regardless of what happened, what's going on in your life, at some point, the reality of life is at some point life does, resume as it was. So just let me know as and when, and I'm here. Went quiet for a while, didn't hear anything. So then at 10 to 8, so this is, like I say, I've been told I haven't refunded immediately at 6:24. 10 to 8, and bear in mind I paid at 10 o'clock in that morning. So I had been worrying for a number of hours. Have I been scammed? But at the same time, I was like, I didn't have his phone number before. Why would you scam someone and then give them your genuine phone number? That didn't make sense. I was like holding on to little things like that to try and comfort myself. So I said, just want to say, I'll let you know as soon as I receive money. I of course will confirm. So there's nothing for you to worry about regarding that. Because I thought if something is going on, family, the last thing you want to do is worry about, your mind not be quite where it is. What if you put money on the wrong account number or something? And I got a response saying, it really couldn't happen at a worse time. Felt terrible cancelling last minute, but you thought it was bloody scamming. Obviously, I didn't let it know that I had doubts at that time, because I thought, again, just because I've got doubts doesn't mean that there's anything happening. And the last thing you want to do is offend someone if they're absolutely genuine. I mean, like I say, these things are an element of trust. So, I finally did get a refund about 8 o'clock in that evening. So I did get all of my money back in one transfer. So it's, and that's important to note. That is important to note. I'm absolutely devastated and gutted still about not getting the bag, because I've been so, literally in the days leading up to the collection, so excited. I'd planned my unboxing video. I was wearing my barenia watch strap. I'd done mock-ups of my phone of different outfits with it. I'd matched it to bag charms. I didn't buy a twilly, but I'd picked out what twilly I was going to buy. I'd sorted out an existing twilly that would go with it. I was there. I was dressing the bag. I was dressing the bag with me. I'd approached Simone about getting a bag insert. I literally, because it had the bag to have an element of slouch, which is fine, they do that. It's one of those styles that does that, but I thought I'll get a bag insert with in the 2mm to help with the slouch, because that's really great, and knowing what could fit the Zumoni bag inserts are as well, I thought that's really going to help with that. So that was it, and it all went quiet. A week later, on the 14th of August, bearing in mind there's been this, family emergency of which I could find no record of on Google. But again, who's to say that Google is the be all and end all and, has all local news on it? I was trying various places. Just again, before I got my money, this was just to try and again reassure myself, and it didn't. So I saw that he was selling bags again on Facebook. There was a bag on eBay, which had been on his Hardly Ever Worn It account, but then come off. But there was then being advertised on eBay, but then, commission is high on Hardly Ever Worn It compared to selling privately or on eBay. And there was within the Facebook group, so not my bag, but there was a different bag being sold. again, pictures of the same place. I'm like, great, he's back home and he's selling bags. You know, not just he's at home, I'll pounce on him, but he's obviously in the mood for sale. Rather than try to do a new sale, isn't it easier just to resurrect with me and get, you know, get the money back? And it's an easy sale, if you like, because it's all done and agreed, just a quick, you know, transfer. I was fine with postage, you know, the London meet was easier, but I wasn't against postage at all. And I'd seen him been online, so I sent a little message, say, you know, trying to be gentle and, you know, good morning, how are things? Nothing. So then later I just said, well, you've been on my mind all week, because it genuinely had. Apart from me being really gutted about missing out on the bag, I was really like, I know I hadn't been involved, but it was almost because I was there at the time of this emergency, I felt, yeah, not quite a part of it, but I did have those emotions. I was like, you know, wanting to know everything was okay. So yeah, so I got no response. I think that I had a bit more of a look. And my bag was, notes are finished, I got bored. So when I say my bag, I know I have my money back, but what was my bag was back up for sale on Hardly Ever Worn It. And it was back up for sale on Vestiaire Collective. Identical pictures. So I messaged him because I was like, so there's something going, at this point I'm like, there is definitely something going on here. So I did send a message and just, you know, sent a picture of it for sale on Hardly Ever Worn It, and just said, you know, would you mind explaining this, please? Because I'm like, well, how could it be back for there if it's, you know, and I was also feeling really hurt. So I was like, you know, I'd appreciate knowing if, you know, was there a reason you want to sell to me? Like I say, literally minutes before meeting, it was all good, can't wait to meet you. What suddenly happened? And he came back to say that it wasn't his bag, and look at the username. And I was like, yeah, I can see that the username is different, but the bag is identical. Like I say, it's not a new bag, so you could see like the little marks and everything. I mean, what are the chances of a Hermes barenia leather bag, 24, 35, with identical stage pictures and identical marks being on the same platform? Like literally, it's not that common a bag. So I just said, you know, do you still have the bag, or did you sell it? Because I thought, well, did he sell it to someone else and now they've put it on Hardly Ever Worn It? Like, what? I was really confused as to what was going on. And he's sort of like then being quite defensive and like, you know, frustrating me to explain myself in any instance to you. The bag is not mine on Hardly Ever Worn It. I still have the bag at mine and it's in the box. So I was like, then I can only apologise. It looked identical. Like, you know, from my perspective, what else are you going to think? And he's come back and say, yeah, it does actually look the same. He's looking at the listing now and he's going to contact them to say why they're using his images to sell another bag. And I'm like, really? Their admin that bad that they'd get? I was like, it's also on Vestiaire. Anyway, so he's basically then saying it's his item, they shouldn't be using his photos. He's taken a few weeks off to be with family, he's not in London. When he's back, still saying, so this is on the 14th of August, still saying that when he's back, we'll sort it out, and if I'm interested, I can still have the bag. I was like, thank you. I was like, I'm sorry. And then I felt bad, you know, like, I'm sorry to hassling you at such a time, you know. And there's a bit of defensiveness on that. And I was like, you know, but we left it all good. And I was just trying to say that, you know, from my perspective, this raises questions. Of course it did. He's then removed the listing out of a different bag. I was like, I never asked him to do that. I literally was like, oh, you know, you're back in the mood for selling, and that was that. So we left it there. We haven't been in contact since. However, my mind was still going. So on the 15th of August, I rang Hardly Ever Worn It. Because when I looked, I wrote down the two profile names of what was being sold. I wrote down the product number. It's the same product number. So it's the same pictures with the same product number on two separate accounts. Now that's weird. Something's going on, and I needed closure. I just needed to know what was going on. And again, for some of this, I'd also been thinking of the seller and kind of like, if this whole scenario was real, then, just trying to get rid of anything that was going on that was going to cause any extra hassle or whatnot. So I contacted them. Then got someone the studio director then called me back and basically explained that what had happened was that when the seller was on his way to meet me, he had to go via their office to pick the bag up because the bag was actually on their premises. It wasn't already in his possession. He wasn't walking along with the bag to give to me. It was there. So I think at this point, his genuine intent, because it was around the corner from where he was meeting me, was to pick the bag off them and give it to me. I genuinely believe that was the intent. However, Hardly Ever Worn It knew that he was meeting, not me personally, but knew that he was meeting the buyer of the bag to give it to them. What happened was as they were giving it back to him, they basically had to explain that they'd confused toga leather with barenia. They'd used a leather balm on it and it had put a mark on the bottom of the bag. So much so that they weren't going to let him leave with it. They bought it off him. So this is what was going on at around 12 o'clock. This is what happened. This is what was happening. So they did that. The Hardly Ever Worn It account that was selling the bag is their own. The Vestiaire Collective account that's selling the bag is their Vestiaire Collective account, which makes sense why there was so much on that Vestiaire account being sold. Obviously they would have to pay commission on that, whereas they wouldn't on their own site, which explained the price difference. Now, I can't say definitely what did or didn't happen in regards to his family at that time, but it's a bit of a coincidence that within the same hour of that happening and him no longer having the bag because Hardly Ever Worn It have bought it from him, that there is a family emergency. Obviously I can't say, but I think it would raise doubts, I think, with anybody. You would think, well, why not just say what happened? Sounds like it wasn't his fault. Why not just say the bag? And all I can think of was because he'd previously said on a couple of occasions that he had the bag, it was with him, it was pristine, remember, that he didn't want to then admit that it wasn't. That's all I can put it down to. But unfortunately, it goes to show how one lie leads to another. So yes, this is how we leave it, is that I'm in conversations with Hardly Ever Worn It. I am trying to persuade them to sell me the bag because at the time that they bought the bag, it wasn't the seller's to sell, it was my bag because I paid for it in full. From the legal advice I've been given, I've met the conditions for it to be a contract of sale, therefore I hold the legal title over the item. So I'm trying to, I'm not trying to get anything for free at all, but I don't see why I should pay an extra £1,400 that I'm being asked to pay because they don't know their togo from the barenia, which is basically what it comes down to. So we will see. I'm really hoping, this is part one of the saga, I'm really hoping that part two of this saga is going to be an unboxing. I really do. Right now I don't feel that hopeful based on the interactions I've had so far but it should be finalised next week. I will at that point know that I've done absolutely everything in my power to get what I want, which is the bag. But it is just a bag. I know that. It's probably a lot of you watching this, like, I hear you. But sometimes it's just, when you set your heart on something, it's about that. And when something like that goes wrong for such a seemingly silly reason, I don't mean the reason I was given, I mean the leather balm being the silly reason. Don't misunderstand that, please. Yeah, and I think for me as well, again, it pushes that button. It pushes that button in me where I don't have control over a scenario. You know, I was given no say. I had no knowledge of it till a week later what had actually happened. So that's where we are. As at today, the seller is no longer showing as being available on Facebook Messenger. They have left Facebook altogether. I've no idea why. I don't know if it's related to this or something completely different. But yeah, so we'll see what the future brings. We'll see if I ever hear from him again, because like I say, as we left it, that when he's back in London in a few weeks' time, the bag which is in his possession, he is willing to sell to me. That was how we left it. Like I say, that was the day before I spoke to Hardly Ever Worn It and found out that the bag is on their premises because they bought it. I got my money back. Hopefully there will be other bags that I can gain some enjoyment from. For the time being, I'm sort of a little bit off other bags, to be fair, right now. It did leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. And I think a lot of it was because of the worry and the stress before I had my money back as well. And I think as well, being in that situation where you feel like that other person, it makes you feel almost that awkward, that you like you shouldn't ask, like you shouldn't message, like you can't ask for your money back because they're going through a worse time. And the cynical part of me thinks that that was done deliberately. They run a PR company. Anyway, I'm going to go. That is my bag drama. It's not that spectacular, but for me in my life, that constitutes drama. So yeah, I might do another video. I'll see if I can do a more upbeat video. I think I've depressed myself. Thanks for watching, those of you that have, and I will let you know the outcome in video 2, which will be a lot briefer. Take care, bye.